Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Power of One podcast. My name is Jenifer Page, and I am the president of Champions for CASA. I'm excited today to introduce you to our 2025 CASA of the Year, Felicia, who is an amazing CASA volunteer and is going to share some stories with us today. So, Felicia, why don't we get started by just telling me a little bit about yourself and how you got into becoming a CASA?
Yeah, well, I became a CASA because I was a former foster child for 10 years, from the age of 3 to 13, and I always wanted to give back to kids in care. I just didn't know what that was. And one day as an adult, I was home watching Dr. Phil, and they talked about CASA, and I was like, that's what I need to do. And it's interesting because it took me a little while. It took me about a year to make that commitment. I had a very stressful job at the time, and I wanted to give it my all and was afraid I wouldn't be able to commit. But then once I did, I never looked back. The best thing besides having my kids that I do.
Yeah. I think we all do that, right? Like we all sit there and think, oh, it's going to be so much time. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. And then afterwards, it's like, wow, this is just natural.
Yes.
Somehow it just fits in.
Yeah.
Right. That's so important. So you work with teenagers, teen moms typically is what I'm told. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, I've had 5 different cases over 10 years, and Diamond years back became my first teen mom. And we really had a connection. We had similar stories, and, just helping her and navigate, foster care and the system and just being a mom, it just really did something to me. And then I knew after that I would only work with teen moms. And since then, that's all I've done. That's my niche. And it's so amazing because I don't only just affect her, but a baby as well. And how beautiful is that?
Wow, that's so important. I've never even thought about taking a case like that. That's inspiring. Yeah. Actually, that's really cool. It's interesting. So let me ask your perspective on that. So you came in with the obvious foster care experience yourself, and also being a mom yourself and wanting to work with other young mothers and whatnot. What would you say to somebody who maybe those aren't their experiences? Is being a CASA volunteer still worth it?
Oh, absolutely. If you're looking for purpose, CASA definitely is something that you should look into. It's so meaningful work. Sometimes I think that it's really, we get so much out of it.
That's
like
true.
Change a life, but to change a child's life, you just don't know the impact that does and what it does to you as just a person. It really does give me purpose. It helps me get out of bed sometimes in the morning and say, nope, I'm going to be better, do better because I represent CASA, and that means so much to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell people sometimes I feel selfish.
Yeah.
Because I got into this to give to other people, but I get so much out of it. Back. Right? So the idea of actually building a relationship and getting that benefit and value, like it almost makes me feel guilty sometimes.
Exactly.
I love it so much. That's awesome. So talk to me about your first day. First case, first day. Yeah. How did it go? Like, what did you do? What did that look like?
So I think it was helpful that I was a former foster child. So I did kind of understand what I would maybe be getting into. My first kid was 3 kiddos, all pretty close in age, and they had been, removed from their home and also removed from another foster home. And so I got to meet them, and they were just at all different ranges. One was nonverbal. We didn't know what was going on there. And I wasn't sure how I was going to connect with these young children and what, it's different being a foster kid than being a CASA. And, I was really open to just see how it went, and it was so beautiful. One was just like a whiz with puzzles, and then I'm like, okay, that's how I can connect with them. And everyone had their own different things, and just being able to observe them and see what they liked, and I was able to connect with them. And I think the most important thing is just consistency. I made a point that I would see them every week, and if I said I'd come, I'd be there. And I was with them for 2 years, and they got adopted, and they're in a forever home. And I still keep in contact on social media with their forever family, and it just couldn't have been a better outcome.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I know I remember back to my first case, and the first time I was going to the home for the first time to meet the kids, I was terrified. Like, I just remember sitting there thinking, I think I was more afraid to talk to the kids than I was to even the adults or any of that. Like, I was trained. I knew what I needed to do, but like the anxiety going into that. And then by the end of the visit, we were fast friends already. Like, we had already bonded, and, it just kind of happened. It was really natural and cool. Oh, yeah. I always love talking to other CASAs and hearing.
Every experience is different, and that definitely was a positive, and it depends on the age. You know, I've had older kids, and it's a little bit harder, and depends on what their background is, but there's always a way in.
Yeah, no question.
There's a way to connect.
Yep.
And sometimes you just need to prove that you're going to continue to show up, and then they let their guards down, and that's such a beautiful moment when you see that.
Yeah. Well, your niche is so unique, right? I mean, teen moms, I have to assume they're probably hardened, right? They're probably, you know, kind of tough and exteriors and whatnot. So getting in, is that harder for you?
It's not harder for me. I also was a teen mom. I wasn't in care at the time. So, but being a foster child, you grow up really quickly. And so I knew that. And so I think I went into the experience knowing like, this is not a normal 16-year-old, right? This is one who's been through a lot, is a mom herself. I can't treat her like a normal 16-year-old because that's not going to work. And I think that that was the best thing that, you know, I could do to prepare myself. And then that connection that I made with Diamond has just really been so valuable. And I really feel like teen moms is my niche, and that's what I do.
That's really cool. I work with teens mostly myself as well, but I've certainly had some of the littles, and it's just different, right? I mean, it's not better or worse, right or wrong. It's just different with different age groups, kids. I personally like sibling groups, because then I get a little bit of all of them.
Right.
So I remember my first case, I had asked in training, I had said my ideal was an 8-year-old little boy. I was a boy mom myself, and I thought, oh, that'll be absolutely perfect. Right. And so when I got my case, they said, congratulations, you got what you were looking for. You have a 9-year-old boy and his 4 sisters. So I had kids ages 5 to 17. And it was really exciting to get to work with kids of all different ages and, you know, different genders and bond with them individually, but also watch them as a sibling group come together and, you know, get to experience what that's like for kids that did get to live together. Right. And to only get to see each other a little bit less frequently.
Yeah. And I'm lucky to be a CASA peer coordinator, still a volunteer, but I have a team under me. And what I love about that is because I get to help other CASAs be successful. It's so important that we keep our CASA volunteers because they do make the connection with the kiddos, and we want that consistency for them. So we want them to be successful. But I feel like I get the benefit of both worlds because they get to work their case and I get to, you know, take part in that, but also they're responsible, right? So it's kind of like almost like a grandmother, like you get to love them and give them back. I get to help them and help them be successful, but I get to experience all different cases, all different ages, genders, and it's amazing. I love it. Yep. And every one of my CASAs, they have a different niche. You know, some like the little ones, some like the teens, some like, you know, and I think it's beautiful because there's so many kids and so many different needs. And if we can find people that match, then it's wonderful.
I mean, is there any doubt why she's 2025 CASA of the year? I'm sure not, right? So talk to me a little bit about what kinds of fun stuff you do with your kids. Like, what does an average visit look like for you?
So it depends on the kiddo. My teen mom now, her and I are foodies, and her little baby, he's 3, but he looks like he's 5. He likes to eat. So it's really nice going and different places with them and experiencing different cuisines that they've never had. And so we really like to do that. And it just depends. You know, I really like to focus on what they like. With Diamond, we did a lot of things in the community. She was at St. Jude's Rats for Children, so they have a lot of events going on. And we went to concerts, things that we wouldn't experience. I wouldn't experience. We went to a hockey game. We went to Carrie Underwood. You know, all of these different experiences that the kiddos get to experience, and I'm so lucky that I get to experience that with them. Yeah. So, and sometimes it's just going to the park or McDonald's. It depends if it's cold or hot. You know, Las Vegas is hot, so we're not trying to be outside. And now we have this beautiful center that we can come to. Like, what a blessing. Yeah. I wish we had this long ago, but, you know, better late than never, because sometimes it's a struggle, especially when you have different kids of different ages, a teen mom and a baby. Like, where do you take them both that they're going to like? What's, you know, anything we do for our kids is out of our own pocket. So how can we help reduce the cost, but still, you know, do things that are fun with them?
Yeah, it's interesting. So, I have a teenage boy that I'm working with right now, and he loves, like, our thing to do is always boba tea. Like, he's super into boba tea and loves playing video games, right? So we found a boba tea by his house that has video games, and we'd sit there for hours and just hang out and play and do that. It's always amazing to me why he wants to play with me, because I'm terrible at video games, but he does.
That's why.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, that could be it. But it was awesome when we were building the center. he was able to come shopping with me. And he actually designed the teen room for us and told us, hey, these are the games the kids are going to like, and this is what they're going to like to do. And this is the security that you have to be really careful of and be aware of. And it was just so awesome and inspiring to kind of get to experience that with them. Right? Yeah, that's great. So the next thing I want to talk about, so you work with teenagers, so that means they age out. And for our viewers, aging out is when a child reaches 18, they exit foster care or go into advanced foster care. But talk to me a little bit about what that aging out process looks like for you as their CASA, for them, and then do you stay in touch with them? What does that look like after?
So this is really good because I had to learn that you might have long life connections with some kiddos and some you may not, and that's okay. Yeah. And so my second teen mom, she decided to leave and we didn't stay in touch, and that's okay. But Diamond, I was at her wedding, and we're family now. So I'm just her mother-in-law is a CASA on my team now.
That's phenomenal.
And so it's that ripple effect. And so, Diamond's been out of care for a long time and we are still connected. My teen mom that I have now, she just aged out, and I'm going to pick her up after this and see her little kiddo, because when you make that connection, right, it's not something that you can you have it forever. If they want it, if you want to have that connection and they want to, it's a beautiful thing. And if they don't, that's okay too, because you were there for that time and that purpose, and you do your best, and that's all you can do. And I sleep really well at night knowing that.
Absolutely. It's interesting. I'll share a story with you. So one of my kiddos, I have the same kind of outlook on that. I just look at it and say, it's totally up to you. That's the conversation we have with the kids, because you really do grow to care and have such a relationship with the kids. And so one of my older kids that aged out herself, I remember thinking, like, I guess I'm not going to see her anymore, right? She chose to move on her own and wanted to be an adult. And again, totally respect that, right? Like you. But what was interesting is I got a phone call one random day. She kept my phone number all the time. And I get a phone call from her and she says, Jenifer, I need your help. And I said, sure, what's going on? And she said, I'm trying to get an apartment and they're talking to me about like an application fee and all these things that they need to do in a background check and like all these things. Is that true, or am I being scammed? And what I took, it was great to be able to help her, obviously, right? But what I took away from that is I was that one person in her life that she bonded with, that she trusted enough that when she wasn't sure about something, even years later, she knew she could contact me. She knew I'd have her back. She knew that I was going to be there to support her. And even if it's only those little times, that's what shows me the work I did mattered. Yeah. Right? It doesn't have to be the big, huge things. There are a lot of big, huge things. There's some not so great things that happen for us as well. It's the little things that make such a difference for me.
Yeah, and I think aging out is really scary. And it's interesting because foster care is so much better than what it was when I was in care. And we do so much now. At one point there were so many homeless children that left foster care after aging out. And now we have programs to help with that. And my kiddos have all been involved with that, but they're still really scared.
Everyone's scared, right? A regular teenager in a permanent home is scared about going out on their first time. But these kids may not have had the skills and the training and the upbringing that they needed to be able to do that. So that's what I see too. They're terrified.
One of the things that really surprised me is my teen mom that I have here. I'm like, well, let's talk about what you're scared about. Let's just get it on the table. And I was really surprised. She was like, I'm scared because I don't know how to make a doctor's appointment. And I was like, wow, I didn't think that would be something she was scared about. And I'm like, okay, this is good. We're talking about, okay, this is what we do. And you can always call me. If you forget, you can always call me because I'm always going to be here. So again, just another moment of why we are so important. Yeah. It's the little things.
Yeah. It's those little things that we forget about that we take for granted, right? I remember sitting in a meeting with a 17-year-old. There's a meeting that takes place for them as they're going through that age out process with independent living. And they were asking a series of questions. And, my kiddo got super frustrated. And she said, so wait a second, let me understand this. I'm not allowed to take an aspirin when I want to take an aspirin. I'm not allowed to decide what I want to eat when I want to eat. But at age 18, in 6 months, you're going to open the doors and just kick me out and say you're on your own, right? And she's like, I'm not ready. I don't feel prepared for that. And that was such a wake-up call for me with that first teenager that I worked with, that I thought, that's where I can help.
Yeah.
Right? I can do things. And so now with my teens, I tend to take them on errands with me on a Saturday. Right? If I have to go to the cable company and, dispute a bill, I'll go in person and take the kid with me and just be able to let them see and experience what that's like. Because they're going to have to do that someday. Right? Or now that we have the center, let's go to the grocery store together and let's figure out what we want to have for lunch, and we'll bring it back to the center and make lunch together.
Yeah. Some places they can't cook it, wherever they live, they're not allowed to cook, but those are essential skills that they need, right?
Yeah. So one final question for you. Actually two. I'm going to go with two. All right. I'll tell you them in advance.
Okay.
I want to hear your favorite story.
Okay.
And then I want you to talk to our viewers and tell them, why should they become a CASA?
I remember with my first case, I spent a lot of time with them and their parents. And I just knew that even though there was love there by their father, the mother ended up just abandoning them altogether, that he wasn't capable. And so the case went on for 2 years, and there was reunification to get the kids back. And, I kept on, explaining every time when we went to court, why I didn't think that was going to work. And I gave facts and things like that. And at the end, because of the relationships that I made with the team, the father ended up relinquishing his rights, and they got adopted to this amazing home. But it's interesting that the parties afterwards, they said, I really thought that he would get it together. And I remember just patting the DFS supervisor and saying, bless you. So, I didn't, everybody else was like, no, this is going to work, this one. And I was just like, I don't think so. But I was, respectful and believed what I believed and had the facts, and it worked out, for the best. And I was so happy for that outcome.
It's one of the things I always tell the kids that I work with, right? Because it's tough. They're dealing with a lot, and it's hard for them to understand, why me? Why did this happen? Right? And so I always tell the kids, they did the best they could do. And it wasn't good enough. It absolutely wasn't good enough. And I'm sorry you've had to go through what you've gone through. They did the best that they could. Right? And so that's it. Well, thank you. Now talk to our viewers. Tell them, why should they become a CASA? We need more CASAs.
We do need more CASAs. We have over 3,000 kids in foster care. We only have 400 of us. We need more. If you're looking for meaning, if you want to give back, CASA's the place. You can change a child's life, and in that, you'll be so rewarded. It's such a blessing to be able to do this. And I just encourage you, pick up the phone, get some information, take the next step. We're here to welcome you. We need you.
Well, things like this are really helping, I have to tell you.
Yes.
We are up to 600 CASA volunteers. So it's awesome. Wow. We need so many more. We need 1,500 just to serve the kids that we have here in Clark County. So
in 10 years, that's the highest numbers we've had. So it's working.
It's awesome.
It's working.
Right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it. I just want to be able to say thank you to all of our viewers. Thank you for continuing to watch. And let's talk about, what is the power of one? The power of one is really about being that one person in a child's life that can really make a difference. We call it change a child's story. Just showing up, just being consistent can really have that kind of an impact for a child. So if you're interested, please get in contact with us. All the contact information is up on the screen. We'd love to have you. We'll provide you with all the resources. And I promise it's not that hard, and it's super rewarding. So get involved today and change a child's story. Thanks, everyone.